highly placed Nigerians are actually involved in oil theft, and this is coming from the NNPC, the MD Kiari. Good morning and welcome to the Dailies on Echo Television International. I'm Sarah Elisha Dasham, and it's actually the news and current affairs program, and I am together with Tony J. Nakali.
How are you, Sarah?
Fine, thank you. Good morning.
Isn't it obscure that I'm here?
Like so, and I feel so privileged and happy that you're here with us today.
Yeah, sometimes when the issues are boiling, you just need to come and, express your views concerning boiling issues in Nigeria. And I think Nigeria is at a point where we either make it or we let it break.
Of course.
And the decisions of Nigerians using their PVCs in 2023 will really make a great difference in Nigeria, whether positively or negatively. But if you look at the risings from the dailies, you would find out that the hope is nowhere to be found actually. But Nigerians can make better decisions come 2023.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. We are still on that, whether we want to make Nigeria or we want to break it. And I'd like to start with the first paper, which is the Vanguard newspaper. And we're live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So you can drop your comment and we'll read it real time. The first story on the Vanguard newspaper I would like to take here, say highly placed Nigerians involved in the crude oil theft. This is coming from the NNPC boss Kiari. You can read detail of that story on page 8. And we have the NCAA threatening to suspend 23 domestic airlines over 46 billion naira debt-owned agency. That also can be found on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Extortion at Lagos port takes new dimension as ETO fails. Also, that can be found on page 19. Still concerning the PDP crisis, we have disquiet in PDP over Wike's preferred candidate remarks. The writer following that story says his comment put Atiku on edge. This is coming from a source. Explains why party can sanction Wike for anti-party activities. Ex-VP still open to reconciliation. Our crisis will be resolved soon. This is coming from Olafiso. Swallow your ambition, return to PDP, McCarthy tells Peter Obi and Kwankwaso. Stop bad mouthing me, Wike tells McCarthy and says alleged rapist in Rivers PDP for leaking with Atiku. Calls governors meeting today. This is coming from Edo. PDP tells what IU, and actually the crisis in PDP is actually taking new dimensions because yesterday Wike was saying that there is something that is about to happen. I know Nigeria is actually keeping their fingers crossed to know that what is that something that actually is going to happen in PDP, because I feel that whatever the issue they are having, internal crisis, they should let that be and resolve it, because already campaign will be starting soon, and somehow this can actually affect the entire timetable when it comes to the general election. APC is having their own issue where we are having, it seems as if the party is divided between those who are for Tinubu and also those who are for, the APC chairman, which is Adamu. So I just feel whatever their issue is, because it's already the political era.
It's just sad that we do politics in Nigeria like war. Like we're fighting a war, like we're fighting, it's even beyond a war. Because if Wike is not a strong personality, why are you bothered about him? Why is every of Wike's move a threat to everybody in this country? Why? Why would McCarthy call Kwankwaso and Peter Obi to return, to swallow their ambition and return back to PDP? Why? Because we need to call a spade a spade. Everybody is trembling because of the support that Peter Obi is getting. It's frightening. It's frightening. And this is not to air our views like Peter Obi is a candidate to us. No, but is the reality of what is happening. Is the reality of what is trending. We have not seen anybody in Nigeria campaigning for the APC and the PDP like they are doing for the Labour Party at the presidential level. People are doing it. We can see it all over social media. It's telling that these people have become a threat to the parties that they came out from. There are several other people in Nigeria that are doing anti-party activities. Why are they not making the headlines? At state level, why is it not captured on the news? Nigerians have grown to a level right now where somebody will tell you, I'm doing APC at presidential elections. I'm doing PDP gubernatorial elections. And I'm doing APC. I'm doing a Labour Party at House of Rep or Senate. And everybody is preferences. We are growing. Our political system is evolving, especially from the grassroots. People are beginning to see less need to follow one party from top to bottom.
True.
And if the politicians are realizing this late, then I think they should know that this is the way forward for every Nigerian. Because disquiet in PDP over Wike's preferred candidate Wike has the right to be with PDP and vote any other party. It's a secret ballot system we practice in Nigeria. It's secret ballot system. And we are not talking about politics today. You see, NCCA threatens to suspend 23 domestic airlines over 46 billion debt owned. How did we get to 46 billion? When it was 1 billion, what happened? When it was 10 billion, what happened? When it was 20 billion, what happened? Why did we allow it to accumulate? Then you are suspending the airlines. You see, in Nigeria, we are just hopeful that 2023 will become a new beginning for Nigeria. The airline system, the aviation system, the airport authorities, is in shambles. You are catching a 3 o'clock flight at 6 p.m. You are catching a 10 a.m. flight at 12 p.m. You are catching a 2 o'clock flight at 6 p.m. Nobody is talking about that. Okay, what is NCCA doing about people losing money, passengers? What have you done? What are we concerned about as a nation? Are we looking for a better life for Nigerians? Or we are looking for more money for the government? Because this is all about money.
Government, of course.
It's all about money. And this money is going to the coffers of the government. Who are raising this money? Nigerians. Nigerians. When we don't fly, you will not have this accumulated sum. So I think the NCCA should look at the comfort of Nigerians traveling, the comfort of the airline system, the comfort of that particular type of transportation, that transport system. Is it really working in Nigeria? Is it really working? It's not working. That people are flying up and down to Lagos and Abuja and back does not mean the sector is working as it should. If I'm missing flights and I'm not having due compensation for missing the flight, I was at the airport one time. I can't remember the airline now. It was for 12 o'clock. Until I got angry and took another plane to Lagos from Abuja. What happened? Eventually, they cancelled the flight at about 9 p.m. They kept saying the flight is coming from Port Harcourt, it's coming from Port Harcourt. In the next 1 hour, it will arrive. They kept saying sorry from 12. I was at the airport at 10. I sat for 12 hours at the airport. Till today, nobody even sent a mail to say we are sorry for nobody. And then NCCA will watch that and be quiet. And then all of this accumulated sum, I'm sure it's from maybe airspace and all of that. All of this accumulated sum are from they are making the government coffers thinner, not thicker. So they are bothered. And then how many airlines? 23 domestic. If you suspend 23 domestic airlines in Nigeria, what is left of that transport system?
Nothing.
As a matter of fact, these 23 airlines, most of them are going to be private jet fleets. Most of them, because how many commercial airlines do we have? How many? Are they more than 10? And you're suspending 23. So most of them are the ones that provide private jet services. So, Sele, if we don't go back to the next, if we don't move to the next paper, we'll be talking about, we'll be expressing our grievances over things that, may not even, take a positive change at the tail end.
Of course. There's one story still on this Vanguard that actually, grabbed my mind, which is still on the ASU. Government moves to reopen varsities and calls meetings of pro-chancellors and VCs, and we are aware of the fact that most of the state varsities are planning to leave ASU because things are becoming unbearable for them, because the way, the dimension in which ASU is taking, at a point in time you begin to wonder who is to blame. Is it the government or the ASU? Because as far as I'm concerned, they share blames, because at a point in time ASU is not supposed to even face them. Each varsity has a council, and the council is meant to face the government. So you begin to wonder, why is ASU taking it upon itself? At the end of the day, these students are the ones suffering for that, because we had where they said maybe parents will start paying levies. After paying school fee, expecting the parents to still pay 10,000 naira levy. We have not turned to secondary school where you pay PTA levies, and so things are becoming
Before we talk about ASU on Friday, where we'll have a VC on National Talk. We're working on having a VC on National Talk on Friday. Before we talk about ASU, let me ask this question. What is the business of a state-owned university joining ASU?
Maybe.
And these are questions that we need to ask the VC when he comes on Friday. What is the business of a state-owned university joining ASU? If a state-owned university, as said, is owned by the government of the state, why is there any law or rule from the National University Commission that says you must join ASU to be a university? Because we have a university. The university was not affected by the strike. We are not part of ASU. Are we?
No.
So I think is a preference if you decide to join ASU or not. So, and I think state-owned universities should not join ASU. As a matter of fact, they shouldn't join ASU. I think, in my opinion, they have no business joining ASU, except if the prof is here on when the prof comes on Friday. If he has more to say about that, then I can be proven wrong. But I think, in my opinion, I think that is what you should factor on National Talk. And yes, you wanted to note it, but you don't have pen. So I think that is what we should ask: is it a mandate that every state-owned university joins ASU? If not, why are the state universities
with ASU
in the business of ASU? Yeah. So I think we should leave the issue of ASU and go to the next paper.
Yeah, which is the Daily Trust newspaper. And here on Daily Trust, we have 115 killed, 73,379 displaced as flood hits 22 states, including the FCT. Yesterday, we saw the likes of Kano and Borno that were affected by the flood. Lots of billions of naira were lost to that, and I hope more will be done to secure properties that belong to people. And also, we've been talking about clearing of our drainages and to stop building by the water rain. So we hope we'll take that into cognizance.
I saw the issue of flood is not just in Nigeria. Sri Lanka yesterday is experiencing a terrible tsunami. Flood is dealing with them at Sri Lanka, and every international news agency is just making that story is making headlines on every international news agency. The issue of flood is global, and I think we have to go back to architectural plan of every state, and enact laws, and people who build on waterways and all of that. The water has its own roads too. True. So when you build there, you have to survive with the reality of its consequences. So I think we should government should start doing proper erosion control on our roads. We shouldn't just have roads. We shouldn't just build roads. We should have proper erosion control. Right now, I saw on Facebook on Facebook last night, the road to my village is not. You cannot access it. The road is cut in two. Yeah, so I don't know how people go in and out right now because There's no proper erosion control. You know, I'm talking about Biliri in Gombe State, particularly my village. So if that is just one village, how many other villages are suffering from that? In Gombe, the place is extremely sandy. It's like a desert kind of nomenclature or environment. So you only is sandy. The soil, the earth there is sandy. And all the roads we do, you either see water washing it off and all of that. That's due to lack of proper erosion control. I think government has to pay mind to that.
Of course, they have to. Other stories still on Daily Trust. We have, which is also on other paper, NCAA threatens to ground airlines over 24.3 billion naira debts.
So which one are we to agree? Is it the 40-something or the 23?
Looking at Nigeria will stop importing oil by 2023. This is coming from Kiari and says 20
I'm
years
even talking about the previous paper that we read, which is Vanguard. It says over 46 billion naira debt, and then we are saying Daily Trust is saying 24.3 billion naira debt. So we are confused at this point. We don't even know what statistics to work with. Is it the 40 or the 20? So we don't know what to work with. So I think when NACA has the real, when NCCA, has the real figures, yes, they should put it on paper by themselves.
And here, Nigeria will stop importing oil by 2023. This is coming from Kiari. Signed 20-year supply deal with Dangote. Says churches and mosques involved in pipeline vandalism. It means improved economy. This is coming from an expert, and reps uncover $10 billion oil revenue fraud. And still linking to this, because we've heard that high place Nigerians are actually involved in the oil, crude oil theft. And I've been worried and been wondering, okay, if you know that high place Nigerians are involved, why haven't we gotten the names? We've been talking about those who are sponsoring terrorism, Boko Haram. They said they know them. We're yet to see names out. And here on the papers, we're having the high place Nigerians, even involving the churches and mosques, are part of the, the vandalism. So it begins as, if you know who these people are, why can't
mention
you just
their names?
Mention their names so that they can actually face the full wrath of the law. Because it tends to look as if some people are hiding under the canopy of the government, or some people that we know you're trying to protect somebody somewhere for whatever reason we are not aware. But I think we have to be responsible. We have to own up to certain things. I think when we start showing up the names publicly, that will make people to be accountable, that will make people to be responsible, and to actually sit up and to know that if this can be done to so person, then I am not safe. I need to redress myself. So I think we have to get to that place.
One grievous activity with the government that I have is we are always in a hurry to tell the topics of stories. Then we stop explaining the story. What do I mean? This is what they are saying. Nigeria will stop importing oil, and then we say reps uncover $10 billion oil revenue fraud. That is all we will hear about the story. You will not hear who was fraudulent, like you said. You will not hear where the story is headed. You will not hear how the story ended. You will not hear anything again. This is all they want you to hear. And this has been very historical with Nigeria, with the government of Nigeria. All you hear every now and then is the heading of a story. With this, the DSS should start working, the NIA should start working, the police should start working, the journalists should be working, everybody should be working. But there is a way that that story will be shielded at the end. There will be a shield on the story. Now, what will happen is, this is what you hear, you say uncovers, right?
Yeah.
But you will not hear anything about that story again. What have you heard about Chibok girls?
Nothing.
What have you heard about, what's her name, Leah Sharibu? Nothing.
We're still having Deborah somewhere.
We're still having Deborah. We will just present cases, we present issues, and then at the end, the issues will disappear like they will vanish in thin air. And then nothing is said about that, as if Nigerians don't care. If you know that you are not telling us anything, why are you starting the story? Why are you starting the story? Most of the cases that are uncovered in Nigeria, we just hear that 3 gunmen arrested here. That's all. When you arrest someone, is that the end of the case? No. Is the person persecuted? Is the person jailed? How many years did you give the person? Did the person die eventually, or the person is still in prison? Unlike other countries, 3 years later, they will go to the prison cell. They show you the person in his prison uniform. And then they tell you where the case is at that point in time. But in Nigeria, they just tell you 3 gunmen arrested. That is all. What happened to them? Nothing. You won't hear. Where are they taken to? You won't hear. Are they jailed? You won't hear. Who is the lawyer? Who is the judge that is handling their case? Nothing. So I think we need to do a more proper analysis of events that are happening in Nigeria.
Of course. Well, outside of the same paper, mini trap 4 rescued as building collapsed at Kanu Market. Still actually using very low standard, things to actually build things. I think we have to grow up in Nigeria. 25,000 Nigerians missing. This is coming from the federal government and ICRC. Detail of that story can be found on page 4. We need to act fast on ASU strike. This is coming from the Vice President, Uzibanjo. The last story on the Daily Trust newspaper says on 2023, Buhari meets governors, says Nigerians will appreciate APC in 6 months.
We hope so.
We can read detail of that on page 22. And remember, you can actually tell us what you feel about what the president is saying about this. If truly Nigerians are going to appreciate APC in the next 6 months with all that is happening, we'd like to hear from you. And that is all on the Daily Trust newspaper. I think we should move to the next paper, which is the Punch newspaper. Federal government projects 120 trillion naira as 3-year consumption expenditure. Detail found on page 21. 6,068 Nigerian doctors moved to UK on the Buhari. Now, I still have to link this to the last story that says we appreciate APC in the next 6 months. And looking at the fact that we're having over 6,000 Nigerian doctors moving to the UK under Buhari. It was on the papers for the past 2 days, where we heard that for every 5,000 patients, just 1 doctor attend to them. And lots of our resident doctors are moving. Our doctors are moving out of Nigeria to look for better land, look for greener pasture, because the resident doctors are still on strike, that their welfare, hazard allowances, and so many other things have not been addressed. And that is how every sector keep going on strike. Why? Because one thing is not being made. And then I don't know if we're going to blame our Nigerian doctors for leaving the shores of Nigeria.
Maybe we should plead with the EE to move Equa TV to UK too, so that we can also move and have better life and have better weather and transmit under a more conducive atmosphere, where we can just bring stories to say, they said they keep people in Nigeria, because we are not here to witness it.
Well,
46 billion debt, NCCA. We have another story here. It says 46 billion. NCCA threatens to withdraw airline licenses. Wow. Oil earnings dropped by 29% to 790 billion CBN. Tinubu seeks Jonathan's support. APC denies internal rift. Go ahead, Celia. Okay. FG summons varsity councils, vice chancellors as parents grumble. So do we have to wait till parents grumble? This is the indefinite strike, and we've talked about that extensively, I think, and we even promised that we're looking at that by Friday on National Talk. Do we have to wait till parents grumble before FG will act? NUC meets pro-chancellors Thursday to review actions, reach consensus. Will this help? Actually, this strike has been going on for what now? How many months have students been home? Half a year. And for the first month, nothing was done. The second month, we have escalated this strike to 6 months. And now it's the same government that is asking for votes from people in the nearest future. How possible is that? What kind of change is the president of Nigeria promising Nigerians in 6 months? In 6 months. And at the end, federal government will expect Nigerians to clap for them for calling off the strike? Is that realistic? Is that realistic? As a nation, you know, all the practices of government, nothing is a secret. All the practices of government, they are out there in the whole world for everybody to see. Now, what kind of shame do we have? The leaders of this world, from the House of Rep to the Senate to the federal government, all the arms of government. How do you feel traveling abroad, delivering lectures, attending functions, and then your country is in such a state? What kind of lecture can you possibly deliver? Recently, the president of Nigeria was, I think, in Liberia, to deliver a lecture on security. The president of Nigeria is not the person I blame. It's Liberia, knowing fully well the crisis that Nigeria is deep in, and is getting deeper and deeper. And then you invite a pastor who has lost members to preach in your church on how to keep members. If he has that message, he will preach it in his church and his members will not leave. This is not to say anything negative, but I think that the government of Nigeria need to realize, because if you are not in touch with the people to know what is really happening, you should be in touch. Because at a point there were stories going around that the president of Nigeria said he's not aware that ASU was on strike. You remember that?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
So if the president of Nigeria is not aware that ASU or the universities are locked down, should you still remain the president? Should you? It's like coming to Equa Television and we are off air for a month, and I say as GM, I'm not aware that we are off air. Am I a responsible leader? No, I'm not. I'm not. As GM, I'm talking about myself now. I'm not calling anybody responsible. I'm talking about myself. Even if we are off air for 1 hour, I think I'll be in the know. So if federal government remains blind to the predicament of Nigeria, I think there is something wrong or something else they have interest about that Nigerians are not aware of. Look at the issue of terrorism, unfolding eventualities every now and then. Every now and then. If we are faced with terrorists that are living in particular locations in Nigeria, particular locations that we are aware of, there are in Equa, we have churches that don't meet now. Why? Insecurity. We have pastors that have run away from their villages, their catchment areas, and they have not farmed this year because of insecurity. People, let's not even look at Equa. Let's look at Nigeria. And we are not talking about Christians. We are not talking about Muslims. We are talking about Nigerians that are exposed to the dangers of terrorism. They live solely on farming. This year they have not farmed. So what are they eating next year?
We're having food crisis.
How will they survive next year? They eat from what their farm produces. They feed from what their farm produces. They clothe from what they are. So you have paid no mind to the predicaments of these same people that stayed under the sun to vote you in. And that is why the craze, permit the phrase craze, the craze to get PVC so that Nigeria's story can be changed has never ever occurred in the history of the existence of this country. We have never registered voters in Nigeria like this dispensation. Why do you think that is? Everybody is tired of this same system of leadership. When When the APC came into leadership, they spent almost a complete tenure blaming PDP.
True.
If I were the advisor, I would have just said, let's ignore that and work. That took a lot from their lifespan, like their period of existence. And right now we are asking, PDP came, they did theirs. APC came, they are doing theirs. Who is going to be better in the next dispensation? Because we keep looking at these things unfolding. I just told you about how they arrest people and we don't hear anything about it. Look at the paper, the Punch. Please, can you put the Punch on the screen? Look at Army kills terrorists, arrests 3 suspects in Kaduna. They have heard. These 3 suspects that are arrested, believe me, you will not hear that they are jailed. You will not hear that they have been taken to court. You will not hear, I promise you, you will not hear anything about that. In fact, the army that killed the military officers that killed the terrorists, they might even be in trouble for killing them. Because you meet soldiers on the road, they're asking you for money. You meet the policemen on the road, they're asking you for money. These people are sent there and somehow forgotten. They tell you, we don't have flashlight on. And you see the situation very pathetic. You know that these people are not even well taken care of. So if you have something to do, they look so pathetic. They look so like they are not taken care of. They look it. They look it. Some of them, they just put their phones like this and just keep telling people.
Pass. And
they are talking. It's possible you are telling a terrorist, move ahead with the guns, move ahead with what you have. They don't care. Because when you fail to provide the adequate provision for an officer whose life is in danger, he will do whatever it takes for him to survive.
Of course. No wonder they join the terrorists to do whatever is in.
If a terrorist is paying you 10 times what the government is paying you, you cannot beat them.
Join them.
Next paper.
Well, we'd like to go to other papers, but I'd like us to take a little break so that we can actually open the phone lines for our callers so that they can call us. But remember, we're also live on Facebook, so you can, drop your comment. And when we're right back from this break, we'll take your calls. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Thank you for staying tuned. It's still the Dailies on Echo Television International. I'm Sarah Elisha Dasham, and my co-host has been Tony G. Nakadi. Thank you so much, sir, for doing this.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, Sarah.
And right at this moment, we actually open the phone line, so you can actually call us and let us know what your feels are, what your views are concerning the stories that have been on the paper, also what the government is saying to have a meeting with the vice chancellors of the various universities, and also the debt that actually about 28 domestic airlines have been suspected as a result of the debt. What did you feel about that? We'd like to hear what your views are, and numbers are displayed on your screen so you can actually call us. The next paper we'd like to look at is This Day newspaper, and we have Atiku. I will consider national unity government if elected to douse tension, unite Nigerians. And the writer say berates APC administration over increasing debt burden. And I think still what you say concerning, APC spending most of their time blaming PDP. Now we can see that a presidential candidate for the PDP is saying he's berating APC administration over the increasing debt burden. Well, we actually hope something will be done about us reducing this debt that is upon our heads, because it's not about taking the debt, but it's about who will clear it finally. Still on This Day newspaper, Buhari, I will not allow any politician intimidate Nigerians with personal resources in 2023. This can be found on page 46. And we have Kyari saying Nigeria will stop importing petroleum products by mid-2023. Says Dangote refinery to commence petrol production with 50 million liters per day capacity. Alleges churches and mosques now store stolen crude oil. Well, we hope that it tells us the names of those various churches. You can read more of that on page 12. Big story here. In major crowdfunding, Nigerians in diaspora moved to raise $150 million, 100 billion naira for Obi's campaign. Labour Party candidate pledges to cut costs of governance, commitment to transparency and accountability. You can read detail of that too on page 12. Picture story here, we can see Tinubu, Shetima, APC governors visit Jonathan. What are they looking? What are they cooking again? Well, this is the question, because looking at the people over here, you begin to wonder truly what are they cooking? What are the ingredients involved in all this? Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed about that on this day newspaper.
Well, I don't think
we should move to other paper.
Whatever they are cooking, we are unwilling participants to partake. So we want to see them work. We want to see, we are not bothered about what they are cooking. But I hope that whatever they are cooking should translate to good roads. It should translate to better hospitals. You are saying that there is one doctor to 5,000 patients in Nigeria. If you look at even the health sector in Nigeria, whether it is private, whether it is government, whatever it is, if you look at the health sector in Nigeria, it's not deteriorating, it's deteriorated. You go to a hospital, you that is not a medical practitioner, you see somebody critically sick. But you know what? A doctor will come and look at the person and say, give him, and just, they'll call something and give, and the person is critically sick. Doctors don't even look like they are bothered about the lives of Nigerians.
Because they're not taken care of, so they don't care anymore.
And do you know the sad thing? People are still studying medicine. And all of this laxity will be transmitted to all of these people. And you see somebody wakes up and says, I want to start my own hospital. Because as a doctor, you are licensed to. And then you start, and all you are bothered about is the money. All you are bothered about is the money. Have you ever been treated abroad and you see how people take care of you over a finger you cut? They will treat you well and ask you, even call you on phone when you are home. Do you feel better? It's not like we fall sick more than them. But in Nigeria, while on admission, a whole day, doctor will not come to your ward to check you. In Nigeria. I'm not saying government hospitals alone. I'm saying every hospital, even church hospital. They don't care. How many people have died in Nigeria and we know that it's negligence?
True.
When my father died, my father was treated with typhoid and malaria. When he died, we discovered that it was liver problem. So the liver was unattended to. They were treating typhoid and malaria. Till he died, my sister, who is a medical personnel, said she has to do an autopsy on him. Or is it autopsy they call it? Something like that. And they did it, and finally we found out that it was liver. How many other people? Several people. I took a patient to the hospital and the doctor was asking me, does she have blood? A doctor in the hospital was asking me if my patient has blood. So now what is the hope that we have, you and I, as Nigerians? Will you blame the over 6,000 doctors that have moved to the UK? I know a nurse who moved. She has... Okay, we have Elijah from Yola. Yeah. Elijah, how are you doing? We cannot hear Elijah.
Okay, I think we lost Elijah.
Yeah, so it's a system that needs to be checked. It's a system that needs to be checked. Even, that's why people resort to self-medication. You feel this way, you say, I guess it's malaria. You go to the drugstore, you get malaria drugs, you come back home. Sometimes you're even well treated at home from non-medical practitioners than when you go to the hospital. The frustration alone is another sickness. And every day we graduate doctors. Every now and then we graduate doctors. And then this is, I want to say a very big congratulations to our very own Bingham University. They graduated the best set of nurses in the history of, what do they call it now? Nursing Association of Nigeria, I think, something like that. So I want to congratulate Professor Curix, who is the VC of the university. And we pray that the people that you are graduating, they will come out to be the different set of doctors that we have in the country, and nurses as well.
Of course, of course. Well, let's look at another paper, Nigerian Tribune. We have, I will allow Nigerians to vote who they want. This is coming from President Muhammadu Buhari.
It's better for him.
Says politicians won't be allowed to intimidate Nigerians with personal resources. Well, we saw that during the primaries and all that. Okay, we have another caller. Hello, Mr. Benedict. Good morning.
Go ahead.
Benedict, please, if you would like to call us, move away from your TV set and be audible so that we can actually hear what you have to say. As to strike federal government to meet with pro-chancellors and vice-chancellors, detail found on page 30. I will consider government of national unity if elected. This is coming from Atiku. And we have the story of Sunday Igboho, who appeal court set aside 20 billion naira judgment against DSS. Detail of that can be found on page 27. And CBN gave Fidelity Bank note to acquire Union Bank UK. The big story here, stolen crude oil stored in churches and mosques. This is coming from Kiari. Says importation of petroleum products ceased by mid-2023. Detail found on page 8. Over 25,000 persons missing in Nigeria due to insurgents in the northeast. This is coming from the Red Cross. With detail found on page 8. And begin to wonder what the government is doing. Okay, we have still looking at what the Red Cross is saying about that. Over 25,000 persons missing in Nigeria due to insurgents in the northeast. Lots is happening, not just in the northeast, but also in the northwest. And then we'll just hope that what the government would do to actually make sure that all these people missing are actually discovered and also united with their family. We still have the issue of the Abuja-Kaduna train. Some of the victims are still there in the end of the, the terrorists. I begin to wonder what the government is doing. I remember the president saying he's giving the military 2 weeks. This is over a month already, and there are still some people left in the dens of this, kidnappers. So you begin to wonder what more can be done. What facilities have been put in place to make sure that they'll be back. We know that, yes, the train service has been on suspension.
If the federal government wants these people back, by tomorrow morning they will be out. They don't. Why would a president of a country give an instruction, an order, and then the order is taken lightly? Why would a president of country give, and then the person you gave the order to that has failed is still on seat? Why? What is the report? If the president said that, he said it on a national television, he said it was on papers, everybody read that. And then the people that are supposed to, the people that were given these responsibilities, they disobeyed the orders of the president. Isn't that a treasonable offense? It is. It is. You have worked against the instructions of the country. You should face the full wrath of the law. That is how it works everywhere. We didn't see an effort to rescue these people. We didn't see you. In other countries, they will show you how the soldiers that are preparing, or whichever officers are preparing, the people that are preparing to go and get these people, they will show you how did they get Osama bin Laden? How did they get Saddam Hussein? Everything was on video.
Of course.
That is transparency. That is accountability. When you don't have that in any system of government, you have failed. You have failed. And Nigerians will, when you do that and then your officers go scot-free, Nigerians will not trust the president of that country if he speaks again. But when you speak and your officers take action, and your officers move into force, and your officers get these people out, and you show the country, you show the whole world that you are capable of speaking and have what you said come to pass, people will trust you. People will trust you. So there is a disparity between the topmost leadership, the topmost arm of leadership, and the officers of the law, the law enforcement agencies. If you are saying that in 2 weeks, what did the Air Force do about it? The 2 weeks. What did the Nigerian Army do about the 2 weeks? What did the Navy do about the 2 weeks? What did the Nigerian police do? What did the civil defense do about the 2 weeks? Yet the budget of Nigerian Army is 400 and something billion in a year. That means they can spend 1 billion daily in Nigeria. Because we don't have up to 400 days in a year.
We don't.
Except it's changed and I'm not aware. So if you have over 400 and something billion for security in Nigeria as a budget, that means you have over 1 billion to spend daily, and yet people are still in captivity, and yet people are still under, people are still being kidnapped, and yet people are still being under the fear of traveling the shortest distances in Nigeria. No, something is wrong. Let us start talking. What is happening? If we demand for accountability from all state governors on security votes, the monies allocated for security, if we demand for that accountability, how many of them will go scot-free?
Very few.
And that is why we are clamoring for change. And change does not mean moving from APC to PDP or to Labour Party. No, we are clamoring for change. We are asking that whoever is in power should change the whole system. Change the whole system. This cabalism, change it, deal with it. That is what is disturbing Nigeria, the system of governance, contract administration, security management. All of these things are factors to consider. How can you have development in a country that is faced with serious issues of terrorism, crime, and insecurity? How can you have infrastructure? How can you have industries rise? How can you have businesses blossom with the threat of insecurity? Today, Sele, I bet you if you have a company that is awarded 2 million naira contract, before you know it, people will come to your house to either arrest you or kill you to collect the money. So how can people survive in an atmosphere that is polluted by insecurity, by terrorism, by all of these vices? How can you thrive in a I think government should stop thinking about who becomes next president, who should do this, and pay mind to what is the predicament of Nigeria.
Presently, of course, I think so too. And we have the issue of Ekweremadu organ harvest case, alleged do not praise court to reverse order for release of biodata. Detail of that can be found on page 27. Many trappers building collapse in Kano market. That's still on Nigerian Tribune newspaper.
Basically the same stories.
Of course, yes. And then I think most of the stories here are still what we have actually, seen on other papers. Now, I'd like us to move to another paper. I think let's look at what the Daily Sun have for us. We have Northeast 119 civilians and security personnel killed in 3 months. This is a report actually.
Sad stories everywhere.
Exactly, all the papers. Again, court refused Kyari bill application. Governors offer to take over negotiation with ASU. Move to end industrial action as federal government summon Prov and vice chancellors. We must act fast on economy. Varsity lecturers strike warns Usibanjo. APC governors, National Working Committee meet over presidential campaign list. That can be found on page 28. And we have Wike turned McCarthy vows to bring down APC structures in Rivers. Boast of delivering democracy dividends. You can see that also on page 8 of Daily Sun newspaper. 2023, frustrated youths only using Peter Obi as symbols. This is still coming from McCarthy.
Fuel imports end June next year. So basically we have the same stories and our time is fast spent. We have basically the same stories over and over and over and over again. And the best thing is for Nigerians to just take their voter card and go to the nearest polling zone and polling station and then vote your candidates. We are not instigating, we are not influencing, we are not suggesting, but just do what is right. if you see the things that are unfolding in Nigeria every day, it will give rise to your decision. You know, it will give rise to your decision. If you want to channel your vote towards a failed system, because we have tested everybody. All of these people that are asking to be president, to be governor, to be not very few of them are new. Very few of them are new. Atiku was vice president.
Yeah.
Bola Tinubu was senator at the same time governor. Peter Obi was governor. So all of them, we have seen their antecedents over time. We have seen what they have done. As governor, we have seen what Tinubu has done in Lagos. As governor, we have seen what Peter Obi did. As vice president, we can rate the antecedents of Atiku. So Nigerians should make informed decisions. Should take it's critical, the decisions you take about who you are going to vote. We are looking for people with antecedents. We are looking for people with the will, with the power to cause changes in Nigeria. And we are looking for people that can wake up and say, this must stop, and they will see to it that it has stopped.
Yeah, of course.
So these are the kind of people that we are looking at. And the debates are still going on. The presidential candidates are still speaking. They are still saying what they can do, even though we know some of them cannot do what they are saying they can do, because time has been given to them to do it, and they have not been able to do it. And the only advice I'll give Nigerians in closing is that you should not go for party, go for candidate. Party does not speak. Candidates speak.
Of course, I think I'll have to round up with this comment coming from Mizzy Adams, and he said, we have incompetent leaders, and we know what we have to do to vote out bad governance and actually vote in good governance. Until we come here again to have a blessed day, stay tuned for Nigeria Now by 10.